The winds of war had begun to stir in the land of Bharat. The fields of Kurukshetra, destined to drink the blood of warriors, awaited their fateful battle. But before the conch shells could sound, before the armies could march, Rukmini, the principal wife of Shri Krishna and the earthly manifestation of Mata Lakshmi, took it upon herself to seek out the great Bheeshma. She found him in the palace of Hastinapur, seated alone in deep contemplation, his face lined with the weight of 1,000 unspoken words. His silence was legendary, so was his wisdom, and yet for all his wisdom had he not remained silent when Draupadi, the wife of the Pandav, had been dragged into the royal court and humiliated? Had he not stood by, offering neither protest nor protection when the brother of Duryodhan attempted to strip her of her dignity? Rukmini did not announce herself. She did not bow before him as tradition might have dictated. Instead, she stood tall, her presence crackling with the same divine authority that coursed through her husband. And she spoke. Bheeshma, the grandsire of this wretched war, I come not to seek your counsel, but to question your silence. Bheeshma looked up, startled. Never before had a woman addressed him so. Never before had someone dared to challenge the righteousness of his service to Hastinapur. But before he could speak, Rukmini pressed forward. When Draupadi cried out for help when she was wronged in open court, where was your sword? When the Pandav were deceived and exiled over a mere game of dice, why did you not rise? When they returned, demanding only what was rightfully theirs, why did you not ensure they received it? And now, when war is upon us, when righteousness and unrighteousness stand poised for battle, you take up arms, not against the wicked, but against those who stand for righteousness. Tell me, great Bheeshma, what meaning does your vow hold if it shackles you to injustice? Bheeshma did not reply. He could not. Tears welled in his aged eyes, and for the first time the mighty warrior, the undefeatable son of Ganga, felt his strength fail him. The words spoken by Rukmini had pierced him more deeply than any weapon ever could. He had not been blind to unrighteousness. No, he had seen it all, felt it all, but he had bound himself to a vow, a promise to serve the throne of Hastinapur, no matter who sat upon it. And so he had served even as Hastinapur became the very heart of unrighteousness, served even as he knew his allegiance was misplaced. A heavy silence hung between them before he finally spoke, his voice hoarse with regret. You speak the truth, O goddess. My silence has been my greatest failing. My devotion to Hastinapur has come at the cost of my devotion to righteousness, and for this I will pay the price. I have been granted the boon to choose the time of my death, and I have chosen to meet my end in this war. It will be the arrows of Arjun, the noblest of warriors, that shall release me from this mortal bond. Rukmini exhaled slowly, her fury tempered by the sorrow in his voice. She did not seek to wound him further, but neither would she offer him comfort. Some burdens could not be lightened. So be it, she murmured. You have tied yourself to this path, and now you must walk it to the bitter end. And yet, do you not see? Even in your final moments, you place upon Arjuna a burden that should not be his to bear. To restore righteousness, he must slay not an enemy, but his most beloved elder. Krishna will ensure you find release from the karmic debt you have accrued, but your suffering will be long. You will lie on a bed of arrows, each one a testimony to the choices you did not make, the words you did not speak. Bheeshma bowed his head. He knew she was right. The war could have been avoided had he truly wielded his power to uphold righteousness. He had remained silent, and now silence would cost him everything. Rukmini turned to leave, but paused. I will see you again when it is time, she said softly, and then she was gone. As she stepped outside the palace, the crisp evening air met her, and there, waiting for her in quiet understanding, stood Krishna. He did not ask what had transpired. He did not need to. He simply looked at her with his knowing smile and said, You have spoken for both of us. You have made it clear for him and for the world that inaction in the face of evil is a crime in itself. Arjun will grieve when he strikes down his beloved grandfather, but it will be his final test. Only by severing his last attachment can he truly stand for righteousness. Rukmini sighed. The wheels of fate were in motion, and none, not Bheeshma, not Arjun, not even Krishna himself, could stop what was to come. She had done what she could. Now all that remained was war.